Greetings, fellow seekers of knowledge. I'm your host, but for today's journey, I want you to think of me as your resident ancient Greek historian. We are brushing the dust off the scrolls to recount a tale of just absolute unparalleled glory and devastating ruin. We're going to unpack an epic tragedy that's been echoing through time for literally thousands of years, captivating explorers and dreamers alike. So settle in, because in this explainer, we are diving deep into the enigma of a sunken utopia, a lost world that still totally haunts our collective imagination. Just picture the sheer terror of this for a second. In a single day and night of horrific earthquakes and floods, the entire continent was swallowed by the ocean. Those are the chilling words passed down by my esteemed predecessor, the great philosopher Plato, right around 360 BC. We're talking about the greatest civilization known to mortal men, just completely erased from existence in a mere 24 hours. No way, right? Well, this catastrophic account is exactly what hooks us. It demands that we look backward and ask, what exactly was lost beneath those churning waves?
So let's set the stage with Act 1, the account and the glory.
To truly grasp the magnitude of the tragedy, we've got to first understand the majesty of what was lost. I want you to cast your gaze westward with me, way past the familiar waters of the Aegean, beyond the very limits of the known ancient world, past the Pillars of Hercules. Out there, legend says, lay a utopian golden age. Plato describes a society that was just absurdly advanced for its time. Their capital was a masterclass in urban planning, built in massive concentric rings of water and land. It's like a giant puzzle of architecture. They boasted this unmatched naval power, with fleets that absolutely dominated the seas. The earth practically handed them abundant gold and silver, and their engineers were pulling off techniques that were centuries ahead of their time. It was the literal pinnacle of human achievement. Now, what's really fascinating about their otherworldly wealth is this mysterious substance called orichalcum. This wasn't just your standard ancient currency. It was a highly valued, almost mythical metallic resource found in rich deposits all throughout their vast empire. To put that into perspective, the rest of the world couldn't even fathom this level of prosperity. They didn't just have standard gold and silver. They had resources of legendary proportions, totally cementing their status as an empire of immense, unmatched might. But, as any student of the ancient world will tell you, great prosperity almost always breeds fatal arrogance. And that brings us to Act 2, hubris and cataclysm. The downfall here was as sudden as it was terrifying. It's a grim reminder that the gods simply do not tolerate unchecked pride in us mortals. The tragedy unfolds in 4 very distinct, very terrifying steps. Step 1, they started out with noble virtue, standing as a true beacon of civilization. But then comes Step 2, hubris and greed. They let the power go to their heads, succumbing to the corrupting influence of their own massive wealth, which triggers Step 3, divine retribution. The gods looked down, saw the rot, and passed a harsh, unyielding judgment. And finally, Step 4, continental collapse. With absolutely terrifying swiftness, the heavens unleashed unimaginable terror. Earthquakes shattered the foundations beneath them, and the oceans just rose up to claim the entire continent. And the aftermath? Well, as Plato so hauntingly recorded, it was just a profound, eerie silence. Nothing remained but a vast, impassable expanse of mud. The waters were so choked with the debris of this fallen empire that ships couldn't even venture into that part of the sea anymore. Think about that. A glorious, thriving utopia, entirely swallowed by the ocean, reduced to a muddy grave in literally a single day and night.
So what does this all mean for us? For centuries, scholars and philosophers have been fiercely debating a crucial divide. Are we looking at a literal historical record or an allegorical warning? Is the Atlantic Ocean genuinely the geographic tomb of a fallen empire, just waiting for us to find it? Or was Plato actually crafting a brilliant, allegorical fable, specifically designed to warn us against the dangers of imperial overreach and unchecked pride? Is it a physical map or a philosophical tool?
Which leads us perfectly from the scrolls of antiquity to the modern day. Let's look at Act 3, the modern scientific quest. We've traded in our ancient astrolabes for the cutting-edge instruments of modern scientists. Today's investigators are incredibly captivated by the possibility that Plato might have been telling the literal truth. They are probing the darkest ocean depths using decades of rigorous oceanographic scanning. We're seeing deep-sea archaeological searches focusing heavily on both the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. They're relentlessly hunting for that one piece of geological or archaeological evidence that finally proves the ancient text right. And while some folks are absolutely convinced a massive landmass is down there,
This search has also uncovered some really fascinating alternative theories.
In fact, modern science suggests that a terrifying, very real historical event might have actually seeded the entire myth. Check out this timeline. It's like a scientific echo. First, you have the flourishing of the highly advanced Minoan civilization in the Aegean Sea. They were a powerhouse. But then, you have the catastrophic volcanic eruption of the island of Thera, which we know today as Santorini. This raw, unfiltered geological violence caused the absolute destruction of the Minoan civilization. Over generations, the memory of this real-life cataclysm was passed down, probably exaggerated a bit, and ultimately gave birth to the legend we know today. It's a stunning example of how hard scientific fact and ancient myth can get perfectly intertwined. Yet even with all our modern tech and endless searching, definitive proof of a sunken utopian continent still totally eludes us. But whether it's a literal history or a brilliant allegory, the lost golden age remains such a potent symbol. It's the pinnacle of human achievement facing off against the raw power of nature. It's a story that forces us to remember the fragility of even the most powerful civilizations when they're confronted with the unstoppable forces of the earth.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought to wrap up this explainer. If the greatest civilization in human history, the society of unmatched engineering, wealth, and power, could truly vanish in a single night, are our own modern empires just as vulnerable? I'll leave you to reflect on that warning turned back upon ourselves. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through history and myth, and may you always keep seeking the wisdom hidden in the past.